Every morning, before the city woke up, Clara Evans was already online. She'd wake to the pale glow of her laptop screen before sunlight, touched her apartment window in San Francisco. Emails, meetings, deadlines, more emails. Her life had become one long reply thread. She was 32, an operations manager at a fast-growing tech startup. Her team respected her efficiency, her composure, her ability to fix crises before they even happened. But no one noticed how quiet she became after hours, how her shoulders slumped when the screen finally went dark. Clara's world revolved around calendars and KPIs. She lived alone in a modern, sterile apartment with more smart devices than friends. She ordered groceries online, scheduled phone calls with her mother like business meetings, and considered rest an inconvenience. On the morning the story truly began, her inbox showed 1 through 84 unread emails. The sight made her stomach turn. She sighed, brewed another coffee, and whispered to herself, "Let's get through today." At 9:15 a.m., during a video meeting, her phone buzzed. A reminder. Dad's birthday, today. She froze. Her father had been gone 3 years. The reminder had somehow survived. Every digital cleanup she'd done since his funeral. She stared at the screen as voices droned through her headset. Someone was presenting numbers, charts, projections. But all she could see was her father's face. The man who used to fix broken radios in their old garage, who laughed easily, who'd once told her, "You don't have to race the clock, Clara. Just listen to it." She didn't listen then. At lunch, she found herself scrolling through old emails. Buried deep in her archive was a folder titled Dad. Inside were short messages, weather updates, bad jokes, little notes he used to send when she first moved to the city. The last one was dated 3 days before his heart attack. Subject line, Inbox, Uduro. She clicked it, but it was empty. Just a blank draft. No text, no attachments. For a moment, she wondered if it was a glitch. But something about that subject line wouldn't leave her alone. Her father had been meticulous. He didn't name things by accident. That night, long after work ended, Clara sat staring at the blank draft. Inbox 0. 0 unread messages. A clean slate. She wondered what he'd meant. Was it a to-do list he never finished? Or was it something else? A thought, a philosophy, a message he never got to send. Days passed, but that empty email haunted her. During meetings, she'd find herself drifting, thinking about how full her life was of things that didn't matter, and how empty it was of moments that did. She started noticing details she'd ignored for years. The way the city glowed pink at sunset. The street musician near her office playing the same old tune. The tired smile of the barista who remembered her name. One Friday night, Clara's boss called her. "Hey, need you to review the investor report tonight, okay?" She hesitated, looking at the clock. It was almost 8 p.m. She had plans, or at least she wanted to. But what plans? Netflix? Laundry? Silence? She said yes, as she always did. But when she opened her laptop, the first thing she saw was that old draft. Inbox 0. Her father's unsent message stared back at her like a question she'd been avoiding. That weekend, Clara visited her childhood home for the first time in years. The house was quiet. Her mother now lived with Clara's aunt in Oregon, and the place had been left mostly untouched. Dust settled on old furniture like forgotten memories. In the small study, she found her father's desk. Stacks of notebooks, half-fixed gadgets, yellowed photographs. Inside one drawer lay an old cassette tape labeled in his handwriting. Inbox View for Clara. Her heart skipped. Hands trembling, she found a tape player and pressed play. Her father's voice filled the room, faint but warm, familiar, alive. "Hey, kiddo, if you're hearing this, I guess I didn't get around to sending the email. That's okay. I've always liked my words better out loud. I called this Inbox 0 because I've been thinking, maybe life's not about how much you collect, messages, money, success, but what you clear out, what you make space for. Every day we fill our lives with noise, but at the end, what really matters are the people we answered, The moments we didn't postpone. The words we said before it was too late. Don't let your inbox or your heart stay full of things that don't matter. Clara. The tape clicked off. She sat there for a long time, tears falling silently. For years, she had been living exactly the way he warned her not to, buried under digital clutter, emotional unread messages she never opened. The next Monday, Clara did something she'd never done. She took a personal day. No meetings, no laptop, no replies. She walked through the city without headphones, letting the sounds of life surround her. Car horns, laughter, footsteps, rain. For the first time in years, the world felt real. She wandered into a small coffee shop she'd passed, hundreds of times but never entered. A sign on the wall said, "No Wi-Fi. Talk to each other." She laughed, then sat by the window and ordered tea. An older man at the next table smiled. "Hard to disconnect these days, isn't it?" he said. "Yeah," she replied. "Feels like if I'm not connected, I'm disappearing." He nodded. "Funny thing, though, the more we connect online, the more disconnected we get." They talked for an hour. About nothing. About everything. It was simple, human, real. As she left, she thought, maybe this is what my dad meant, to clear space for what matters. Clara began to change in quiet ways. She deleted social media apps. She started journaling again, handwritten on paper instead of screens. She visited her mother more often, took walks without her phone, learned to cook from old recipes her father had written down. At work, she set boundaries. No emails after 7 p.m., no weekend calls. Her boss protested at first, but slowly the company noticed that her ideas became sharper, her focus stronger, her mood lighter. The less noise she allowed in, the more meaning she found. One day, while organizing her father's old things, she found a small envelope taped beneath his desk drawer. Inside was a note in his handwriting. For when you finally learn to pause. Inside that, a folded paper with only 3 words. Live before you log. She smiled through tears. That was it, the message he never sent. The meaning behind Inbox 0. Months later, Clara quit her corporate job. Her colleagues were stunned. She wasn't burned out. She was calm, almost radiant. She told them, "I'm not running away. I'm just logging out for a while." With her savings, she bought a one-way ticket to Italy, her father's dream destination. He never got to visit. She spent weeks wandering through small towns, taking photos, talking to strangers, collecting stories instead of emails. One evening in Florence, she sat by the Arno River watching the sunset. The sky glowed like liquid fire, and she whispered, "Inbox 0." Not because her messages were cleared, but because, for once, so was her mind. Over the following year, Clara began writing a blog, Inbox 0, where she shared reflections about slowing down, finding balance and living deliberately. The blog unexpectedly went viral. People across the world resonated with her words. We chase full inboxes, but what we really want is a full life. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is feel. Emails poured in, not corporate messages, but heartfelt stories from strangers, thanking her for giving them permission to breathe. She smiled at the irony. Her inbox was full again, but this time it was full of meaning. 2 years later, Clara returned to San Francisco to give a TED Talk. The stage lights were bright, the audience silent. She began softly. "When I was 29, I thought success meant never missing a message. When I was 32, I found an unsent email from my dad titled Inbox 0. It changed my life." She told the story, the tape, the words, the moment she learned to stop racing the clock. By the end, people in the crowd were in tears. Her closing line echoed in every heart that heard it. The goal isn't to clear your inbox, it's to clear your life of everything that keeps you from living. The audience rose in applause. That night, alone in her hotel room, Clara opened her laptop. For a moment, she hesitated, then opened her email one last time. She clicked Compose. To Dad, archived. Subject, Inbox 0. She typed slowly. tears blurring her vision. "Hey, Dad." "You were right. I finally listened to the clock. I cleared the noise, the rush, the endless chasing. And I heard life again. I miss you, but I think you'd be proud. Inbox 0 achieved. Love, Clara." She hit send. The email bounced back. Invalid address. She smiled. That was okay. Some messages aren't meant to be delivered. They're meant to be lived. As dawn broke over the city, Clara stood by her window, watching sunlight spill across the skyline. The glow reflected off her coffee mug, her eyes, her heart. For the first time in her adult life, she didn't feel behind. She didn't feel disconnected. She felt free. And somewhere in that golden silence, she heard her father's voice again, calm, amused, proud. "Welcome to Inbox 0, kiddo.